What's up, my No Man's Sky dudes? Okay, so what sparked my idea to make this video here, we're on some black and white planet action. Let me get on back up in the spot. There's your ship, Spency boy. What are you doing? It's right there, dude. All right, so wanted to come in here and make this video because and I hope you guys are enjoying some more of this No Man's Sky content. I'm starting to kind of get back into the game here again now that they've finally added a variation update. It's kind of insane what that does to the game, right? And the replayability of it and wanting to come back and play it more and more and more. I've been saying they needed variation in the game from the very beginning, so you can kind of see what all that's added to the game, and that's what's making me want to play the game right now. Is just the simple fact of, man, I don't know what kind of terrain might be on this next planet. I don't know what kind of, crazy alien creature I might find, or some new weird biome that I've never seen before. That's what's keeping me playing the game right now, right? So look at what happens when they come out with an update like Origins that goes back to the core original idea around the game, the actual full-blown procedural generation of the game. Every planet's unexplored, every rock, fish, ocean is procedurally generated, right? Look at what happens when they go back to that original idea. So the point of this video and what I'm kind of trying to get at here is they need to make a No Man's Sky Origins 2, No Man's Sky Origins. They could even keep going past that, right? So even if they don't want to call it No Man's Sky Origins 2, obviously they're not going to do that. They're going to come up with a whole different name for it, right? But in a nutshell, we need more updates just like what Origins was, where it was almost entirely based around procedural generation variation improvements, right? So we got lightning, we got tornadoes, we got more biomes, we got more creature types, we got, cool stuff like the bigger buildings that can be on planets. We got all kinds of different new variable different things to come across on the planet. So, and look at what all it's done for the game. Look at what all it's... Oh my God, I am on a... Holy crap. We have damn near found an entire... Wow, we are in the middle of a ocean, bro. Way out here. Way out here in Texas, dog. Holy crap. Okay, let's land down in this this Fanta orange ocean here real quick. All right. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, though. Could you imagine if they came out with the next No Man's Sky update was just like the Origins update, but it improved on even more variation and even more stuff? I'm going to turn my HUD off because that's killing my vibe right now. Okay. I don't know why it continues to try to pop up the exact same freaking notification over there that I have ignored for like 5 hours in this game. I don't know why that's continuing to pop up, but look at those little dude skis. It's a cool little fish. I like that. Okay. Cool. Probably have a predatorial creature in here somewhere. Holy crap. Holy guac and chips, Barneasy. I am getting like toxic overload. Let me get out of the water here real quick. It's probably mainly in the water. But what I'm trying to get at there in this video is like, could you imagine if they came out with another update like the Origins update? So instead of adding, instead of like more improvements to volcano, lightning, things like that, maybe with this next update, let me figure out where I'm at here. Come on, Spencer, get in your ship. We're getting caught up in a storm out here. I don't want to get blown away. Maybe with the next update, they can the lightning actually strike your ship? I don't know. That would be really cool. Like strike your ship and your ship starts like spazzing out. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna crash. That would be really cool. Look at the cool gameplay elements it adds to this game when you add more things like lightning and cool shit like that. I really love that. I don't even know if that's actually in the game, if it can actually, shock right down on your ship. I don't know for sure, but so yeah, could you imagine if with the next update, instead of things like volcanoes and lightning and tornadoes and things of that nature, maybe it's like, then they add things like rivers and waterfalls and running water and, all different other kinds of biomes to the planets, and it continuing to extend and expand upon the creature variation and the plant variation, starting to add the actual, the bends to the individual plant and tree objects like we thought the game was going to have from the very beginning, where you take one kind of tree model and then you can bend it in certain ways to create all different kind of different tree variations, even within the same exact tree model, right? You guys remember them talking about that and kind of showing that one of those very early on trailers, and that's still not really the way the game is. A lot of the objects and trees and all that seem to be very copied and pasted assets on the planet. You don't see a whole lot of variation within that, I want to see more variation even within the same kind of plant or the same kind of tree or the same kind of rock on one individual planet, right? So let me try to explain what I'm talking about here, but could you imagine if you had all those things like waterfalls, way more variation to the caves, They're still pretty lacking right now, I would say. But being able to have all that, we're flying down to what the hell kind of planet is this? Okay. This is one of those cool kind of new, I don't know if this is, you'd technically call this like a swamp biome. This is like a swamp tropical combination biome. These are always pretty cool when you come across these. So one thing I love about this, and one thing I want to explain in this video, and this is a really big point, is it's not necessarily so much about them adding more and more different models, creature models and plant models and rock models and all that, even though that is something they need to do. I think a bigger aspect of it is just more so varying what's already there and allowing more potential possibilities of what's already there, right? So allowing you to have this swamp biome in combination with a tropical biome. And look how cool it makes this right here. Or allowing you to have volcanoes on a tropical biome, or allowing you to, mix this biome with that biome and this sort of thing with that thing, and allow whatever tropical trees to be on a snow biome, or allow whatever, they really need to broaden the spectrum of what's already in the game right now, right? So, allowing volcanoes to be anywhere, allowing, toxic plants to potentially be on any kind of biome, not just the toxic biomes. There's a lot more variation to the game that they can make with the things that are already in the game, just opening up the potential possibilities of it, right? Look at this cool little mushroom vibe, little tropical world. This is a cool little planet right here, dude. I like this a lot, right? So you can see how it's got the combination of not only like swamp biome and then the cool tropical kind of, pond and lake layouts and things like that, and ocean layouts, but then it also has the tropical trees in combination with the swamp biome trees, right? So that's a really cool, kind of biome combination right there. But just like these trees right here, right? There should be way more. This looks like you took one tree model and you just copied and pasted that exact same tree model over and over and over, right? So what I'm kind of saying they need to do is they need to take this tree model and allow each one of the trees to be more varied in the height of the tree, even on the same planet, right? I know that tree could technically be taller on a different planet or shorter on a different planet, but I mean right here on the same planet, right? You allow that tree, this one to be, 5 foot taller than this one behind it, and maybe this one's got more of a bend to it. Maybe it like bends way over here versus this one. And maybe then this one over here has got a lot more branches than this other one over here, and then this one's got longer leaves on it than the other one over here. They need more variation within each individual, asset model of the game, whether it's a plant, a rock, a mushroom, whatever, even a resource, model in the game. They need more variation within that one individual model on that one planet, right? And I think that would help the game massively. But those are some of the things I would love to see in a, like a future No Man's Sky Origins 2 update. And interestingly enough, Sean Murray talked about this Origins update being sort of a foundation to more, right? So I really feel like when No Man's Sky first came out, it got a lot of backlash. A lot of people were talking about, what do you even do in the game? There's nothing to do in the game. And all these people got really mad. So I feel like Hello Games kind of felt like they had to go in there and give you things like base building and give you things like vehicles and a quest log and missions and all this other kind of random stuff, right? But now, after 4 years, they are finally getting back to the core of the main issues that the game had from the beginning, which is variation to everything, biome variation, creature variation, planetary variation, literally variation to everything, terrain variation, right? So now they're getting back to that. So now, hopefully, what I think you're going to see is a lot more variation in the future, a lot more of these sort of updates that are building on this Origins variation update, right? That kind of seems to be the vibe that Sean Murray is going down. So can you imagine the more worlds and the different cool experiences we're going to have once they actually, we get another Origins level update, and then we get another one. So imagine when we get to the point where we've had like 5 or 6 different Origin updates to the variation of the game. Like, oh my God, that would be insane. You would expect at that point we would have rivers, waterfalls, megafauna under the water, procedurally generated megafauna anywhere, not just the giant worm creatures that come out of the water or come out of the land, right? You would imagine that could be like all different kind of variations, like megalodon creatures in the water, all kinds of stuff. Like I was saying, the tree bend variations and a lot more creature models, skeleton animation types, more variation to the sizes that the creatures can be. I think that's still something they can improve a lot on. Seems like a lot of times you get very similar creature sizes, so they need to broaden out that size scale to the creatures and everything like that. I think that'll help with the variation a lot. And then you might potentially get things like, darker sides of planets, potentially full-blown desert dune planets that are made entirely out of sand, like Tatooine-style planets, or like full water planets where there's no land on the planet at all. You could have really cool things like that. You could have more kind of predatorial creature attack types and animations, and they can start blowing flames out at you, and a lot of cool different stuff like that would be really cool. Look at this rock model right here. That is awesome. I love seeing these cool varied models to the game, and it fits in with this biome too. That's what's really cool. But yeah, I think the big thing is, got a little bug right there. Tree's not really showing up. The bark of the tree, the stem of the tree is not really showing up. I don't know what's going on there, but either way, not just that, but I think over some of these updates, Hello Games has kind of gotten in this weird habit of trying to make the planets too Earth-like. They've almost restricted their variation. I even think Sean Murray said they did put more restrictions on the variation potentials with terrain and things like that since the game first came out, to try to make the planets more Earth-like and try to make it more believable and but the problem is, if you make it too restricted, if you try to make Earth-like planets too much, then you start making it to where you don't have the potential for the crazy alien worlds and the crazy, super tall terrain and super tall plant life and all that kind of crazy stuff. I want to see deeper oceans, more hardcore, crazy, deeper cave systems. Obviously, more kind of creatures that can be in the caves, more kind of creatures that can be lurking super deep in the ocean. You know, I want to have varying levels of murkiness to the water. I want to have water where it's like so murky you can't even see. You can't even see in the water once you jump down in it, right? Even though they have improved some on a lot of these different elements, you know, they've improved some on making more like forest jungle environments and things like that, where they make the trees that can be closer together. They did a lot of that with the next update. I want to see them expand even more on that. I want to see the jungles get even more dense and being able to have these planets where it's like damn near the entire planet is just a super Amazon jungle, you know, like super tall canopy trees, and there's like tall bushes and tall grass, and, you know, really they could almost create another sub biome like that. So it's similar to the quote unquote tropical biome of the game, but it's like almost like a completely different biome because you have way more plant life, way more taller, you know, trees, taller grass, and then the waterfalls and the rivers could add on to that, and then you could have so many more possibilities of new planets and biomes and worlds that you could run into. So, you know, there's a plethora of different things that they could have with that would dramatically improve the variation. So you just imagine if they continue down these roads that they've been going on with the Origins update for another 2, 3, 4, 5 updates, just imagine what the game is going to be like, exploration-wise and variation-wise. Like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be out of this world. No pun intended, brother. So here's a good example right here. A lot of times when you'll fly down to a planet that you think is going to be like a quote-unquote jungle planet or like a quote-unquote forest planet, this is a really pretty planet, I'll tell you that much. Really pretty green grass, almost like an Earth planet in a way. Kind of cool. But even though you can run into this, it's as if you can see how there's a lot of spacing between these different tree patches in these different, you know, areas. It's almost more like what I would call more of a quote-unquote plainsy biome. It's like very scattered, splintered jungle. It's not like a full-blown, let me walk into this dense jungle. You know, it kind of lacks having that sort of effect a lot of times. And it's not one of those occasions of, oh, well, that's just one planet, Spencer. Maybe if you go to another one, it'll be a super dense jungle. It's not really like that. I'm just telling you, I've been to a shitload of planets in this game, and this is about the most jungly kind of planet you're going to find, right? It really is. I mean, being completely honest with you, it really is. Woo! Nice little flying around butterfly creatures. Really happy to see them. Look at the animations on that. I love that, dude. Absolutely love that. Can I even scan those? God, those things are really cool. So just having little things like, you know, more butterflies, little bugs flying around. See how you can kind of get a little bit of a jungly vibe when you walk into here. Got the beetles that they've added, which is really cool. So, but just imagine if this grass was like 3 times as tall. So it's almost like, and the bushes were taller. So it's more like Amazon having to hack through the forest with a machete. You know, I feel like the game is really missing that sort of biome potential. It's more of like an open jungle, more of a cleared out jungle vibe. So I think that's sort of a biome extension that they could create in the future with more variation to the game, which is going to be really cool. But yeah, you know, I want to come down to planets where it's like there is just a, you know, like one little cutout pond, but it's 100-foot deep water in literally a pond that's the size of this right here, but it's 100-foot deep, and maybe it connects to a cave 100 foot down, you know, something crazy like that. They need to get a lot more variation and extensiveness to their water depth specifically, not just in general, but I mean like in one individual planet, you know, you need to have some ponds that are like 5 foot deep, and then the ocean can be like 500 foot deep. You know, you need more of that kind of water depth variation, I feel like, in the game to give you a little bit more of that experience. And still to this day, I don't think you can come across an ocean to where you literally cannot see to the bottom. It's just so deep you cannot see to the bottom, right? I think they really need to start having oceans that are that kind of depth, right? They're that kind of deepness to them to where you literally cannot see to the bottom. So that would be just another variation improvement to that. And obviously a lot of people have mentioned things like the snow planets having different colors of snow. That would obviously add a lot to it as well. You know, like having the creatures where they will actually go to specific kind of resources or specific kind of plants on the planet that they eat, and literally eating the certain plants on the planet would add a lot to it. There's a lot of different improvements they can make to the creature variation and animations, and I think if they start getting more procedural skeletons to the creatures, right, you're gonna be able to get a lot more variable possibilities, because you can only do so much, right? It's kind of like you have to build that creature model around that skeleton animation, right? So therefore you can only make so many different variations of a model over a certain kind of, you know, skeleton. But if they start making way more different kind of skeletons to the game, you can have so many more different kind of creature potentials, right? So are these baby beetles? I think we got some baby beetles here, boys. So yeah, you know, that's just some of the things I think they can improve on, and I think they can even do even more with the terrain than they've done with the Origins update. I mean, they've added some drastic improvements to the terrain variables and potentials and things of that nature, but I think they can do even more with it. To be honest with you, I think they can create a lot more with that. So I guess at the end of the day, the point of this video is amazing job with the Origins update, Hello Games. This is really the update I thought you were going to do at the very beginning, or what I thought you should have done at the very beginning, but now you're finally doing it, and I hope you just continue down these roads. Let's keep on adding these cool things like these giant structures on the planets, and I think it needs a lot more of that, right? Like, if you go back and watch the very first trailer of the game, there was actually a little like kind of cylinder looking building on that planet. I think they need more structural things on some of the planets, not every planet, right? You still want your barren, dud, naturalistic planets, as you would call them, but I think it'd be cool to have more like procedurally generated structural things on the planet that's not necessarily a ruin. It's not necessarily like a predetermined, you know, ruin or artifact or whatever, or outpost or anything like that. It's literally just a random structural, procedurally generated structure that you can go explore and go look through, and you may or may not find anything in it, right? So it really feels like a one-of-a-kind structure that you have discovered on the planet, and maybe that's another sort of discovery thing that you can, you know, actually scan and discover and rename. Maybe that's kind of another thing that you could do with that, right? So instead of just having fauna, flora, minerals, and waypoints, maybe there's like another level to the discoveries where you can scan and discover these random procedurally generated structures that can be placed around the planets, and you can name and rename and discover and upload those as well. That would be really cool and add a lot to the exploration. And going back to the very first update of the game, if you notice, as soon as they were coming out, going back to the very trailer, I meant to say, not the very first update, going back to the very first trailer, if you notice, as soon as they come up out of the water of that first little ocean that they're in, or that little lake that they're in, it actually says, so-and-so discovered this, you know, whatever ocean it was, right? It was like, Hello Games, blah, blah, blah. One of the guys discovered that particular ocean on the planet, right? So I think they need more things to discover, more things to scan, rename, upload, kind of get people back to that original core idea of the game, being Christopher Columbus of outer space, being the first person to ever see those certain things and scan it, name it, rename it, upload it, right? So I want to be able to scan this particular ocean right here and rename this particular ocean, right? That would be so cool to be able to do that. And the waypoints kind of do that a little bit, but not really to the extent that you would want it to be, not really to the extent that you think it would be. So I think they just need more things to discover, more things to, rename and upload, because at the start of the game, technically you're supposed to be able to do that with everything. Literally everything. Look at the, and that's the crazy part, like they certainly do have some tree variation going on here. I mean, you can see it, right? They've got some different kind of colors of trees. This is probably one of the best variations of trees I've ever seen on a planet before. So there is some of it in there, right? Don't let me trick your brain up into thinking there's just none of these things that I'm talking about. They have some of these things, but it's a matter of not quite to the extent that I think it would be, right? So you can see there is some variation within these trees over here. That might be a totally different separate tree model than those. It kind of looks like it. So there is some of it, but I just think if they continue to expand on everything that they've done with this Origins update, literally do all the same kind of things that they did with this Origins update, but just continue to expand on it, continue to add more biomes, more variation, more potentials, more size scale of everything, more kind of everything, basically. Everything that can be on a planet, it just needs more variation of it. And the more they do that, if they continue to push on that, oh my God, this game will literally eventually become that experience that we wanted from the very beginning. It really will. They're step by step getting there, guys, and it's got me really excited. I mean, this was so much fun, me just walking around this planet with the HUD turned off and just exploring something that I feel like I've never seen in the game before. This is so much fun, and it's been so missing in the game from the very beginning. This shit was so repetitive and so same biomes and same kind of planets and same kind of creatures. And there still is some repeated stuff for sure, especially in a lot of the creature side of things. But I'm telling you, man, if they keep on it, they keep expanding the amount of creatures that can be on a planet. Like maybe there's certain creatures that can be on this side of the planet. Maybe there's, another selection of 6 other creatures that can be on the other side of the planet, potentially dual biome planets. There's a lot of different ways they can go with this to continue to expand this even more than what they did with the Origins update. So it's kind of my whole point to this video. I just think they need to keep on this. If they really want No Man's Sky to become that basically endless exploration experience, they just got to keep on this Origins expanding the procedural generation variation engine of the game. They just got to keep doing it, and eventually it will get to that point. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.